most about Brad?
I don't think I have an answer to that. There's not one thing that you hate about Brad. You just hate Brad. I think of the legendary Godzilla.
Favorite trade? Do I have to just pick one?
He had a great team. He just kept winning, made it to the playoffs. Like, it was really something special.
It's happening too fast. I can't handle this, and you freak out.
You know who I don't like? Brad.
Yeah, dear Brad, I hate your stinking guts.
Light.
You're the worst.
He's scared, alone.
I mean, he's made a difference for me.
What if I told you Rome could be built in a day and then burned to the ground on the next? That one man could dare to be a visionary, but were they visions of success or madness?
And I remember going into year two, like, I remember having a conversation with Jake. He's like, I'm going to have to probably make this shirt 2 years in a row because I already kind of know who's going to get it again here next year.
It was a weird situation because it was like a major league team playing like its farm, like its AA affiliate. It was like everybody wants the same side to win. One team was just feeding players to the major league team, so it was like a win-win in a way.
I wasn't really in the league until the year after it happened, but I heard it was bad, but no one ever really talked about it. It was a bit of a cautionary tale.
Who are these people? Did they play in the NFL?
Stephen Hill. Stephen Hill? 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. There was, I remember he started like Kendall Hunter.
Kendall Hunter, 9 games.
Robert Turbin, 4 games.
Chris Givens, 8 games. Brad, what are you doing, brother?
He was starting Cindy Rice.
Sidney Rice. I think he started him after he was out of the league. 5 games.
Josh McCown, he's the guy from the Verizon commercial, right?
Jerome Simpson.
Jerome Flathead Simpson.
Jerome Simpson, that was one of his best players that year.
Yeah, I remember him losing 2 years in a row, and I'll tell you what, he did not like singing the national anthem the second time. Yeah, that wasn't a pretty sight for anyone involved.
So Brad's anthem, he had some falsettos in parts of the song where you should not have falsettos. His voice would go into this, like, go up an octave just in the middle of the song. It just seemed so random.
Brad's fantasy decisions drew criticism from fantasy football and music critics alike. Brad had assembled an unlikely team of losers and misfits, but this wasn't the Bad News Bears. This wasn't the Mighty Ducks. This was something else entirely. Something wrong. Something evil. Something unholy. How could he ever turn this around?
It all came once Brad got his theory about this league. He always talked about his theory, the process. He said it's all about the process. He was obsessed, but it worked.
He made surprisingly a lot of really good moves. It was like something finally clicked in the summer of 2015.
At the end of that season, the second season, he started to make some trades, and you were just wondering how he was going to screw it up. But he didn't. Somehow he managed to make it through most of the way through a season.
And he was making good moves. He was getting receivers. He was on, I mean, even before the season, you're like, this guy, he's not going to finish last. He might be like 10th or 9th. And that was huge for Brad.
You know, I think the turning point for Brad came when he made the trade for Odell Beckham, because he made the trade right before he came back. No one really expected anything, and then it just exploded, and Brad never looked back, kind of.
This guy, he just stockpiled all the elite receivers. It was insane. He had Amari Cooper, Brandon Marshall, Odell Beckham. What are you supposed to do about that? How are you supposed to get superstar receivers when there's one team taking all of them?
But it looks like Brad has decided to double down on his strategy here on wide receivers, but just like the KFC double down, enjoyable at first, but you could end up on the crapper. So, I don't know. Dangerous game I think Brad's playing right now.
And you know, the first week he put up a good score. It's like, okay, that's probably a fluke. Everybody thought it. You too. And then he did it over and over and over. All the while, he gave the credit to the process.
Brad had done it. A championship was within reach. Brad's team was flying high. But, like the story of Icarus, Brad started to fly too close to the sun. You see, against all odds, he built a team that anyone could take pride in. But we all know what pride comes before.
You're just like, when is he gonna fall off the cliff? You knew the fall was coming. You just didn't know how, and you didn't know when it was gonna happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. He was so hesitant to really make a run last year. He kept saying, no, next year's my window. Next year's my window.
In the playoffs, the semifinals, last game, going into Monday night, he was up 19 points on me. Calvin Johnson versus Drew Brees. And that was the night, in my opinion, Brad lost his mind.
To the concern and delight of his fellow fantasy owners, Brad's moves became more and more perplexing. What was once a contender was now in shambles. An entire franchise for a collection of first-round picks? Had Brad's sick rookie draft fetish finally gotten the best of him? Brad's habits had become more and more erratic. Rumors swirled through the league of Brad receiving fantasy advice from animals. An occult connection involving blood rituals was not ruled out. What kind of freakish, dark concoctions were brewing inside his mind? And would the league have to step in to protect Brad from himself?
Ever since that night, Brad's never been the same. He has found a way to deconstruct one of the best teams ever assembled in Doomhammer. And now it's a fiery piece of trash. It's a dumpster fire now.
It's got to be the Odell trade this offseason. I mean, because it was at that moment that you knew Brad cared nothing for, winning. He was all about the next big thing.
I don't know when he made the decision to really go after it last year, but I think that broke something inside of him, because maybe he just thinks in terms of 1-year windows, and once he decided to go for it last year, he knew that this year was off the table.
You're the worst sports fantasy team I've ever seen. I hate you more than the Eagles, Redskins, and the Giants combined, and I hate those teams a lot.
He'll tell you, I just want a superstar on a cheap contract. And the only way I know how to do that is through the draft. And so he got a bunch of draft picks in exchange for a superstar on a cheap contract.
He just doesn't like being told no.
Yeah, Brad going all the way from worst in the league, like not just once but twice, all the way up to being a major contender for a championship, seemingly overnight, and then almost overnight falling back to earth. I mean, it's incredible. It's like something to behold, and I don't think we'll ever see it again.
I'm afraid to ever ask him, what is your theory? Because I think that's some paradox that would probably make someone go insane. Maybe not me, but somebody.
What's it like inside of Brad's head? I can't even really begin to imagine, but I can tell you what it's like being in a football league with Brad.
It's like you get done mowing your lawn.
Being inside Brad's head is like being a huge ape.
I imagine it being like a girl in high school, like you're talking to all the different people, you're talking to these different guys, you're thinking maybe something's gonna work out.
And you just want to sit down in your lazy boy and have a nice beer.
On a little children's playground. Like, you could do whatever you want in the jungle.
But then there's like this one girl at school that's just like really slutty and is just always talking to all the other guys. So even if you think you might have something that you're working out with someone else, like they're always talking to that slutty girl.
But you can't afford a lazy boy because you're poor.
On a little children's playground. Like, you could do whatever you want in the jungle, but you're just in a playground, and you'll probably break some things.
Oh, Jake! Oh, say, can you see by the early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming ray, whose broad stripes and bright stars all is fine. All the ramparts we won were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets rifle from the force below, they flew through the night in a dark world.
All right, let's kill it.
Oh, sing does that star-spangled banner